Hello, good morning. So first of all, sorry for the technical difficulty. So I will be the one to talk first. So Sir Tito Santos having difficulties over his audio. So actually, this is the second part of the session. So I will be talking about Amazon storage service. So don't worry, some of the services that I will be talking here will be discussed later by Tita Santas. Okay, so I think we can start. So what is Amazon storage services? So basically, this is the storage services offered by AWS, which has three categories. So Amazon usually when they talk about storage, they are pertaining to these three options, and it depends on the users or the customers' use case to choose what will be the correct or exact storage option that they will be needing. So for first, we have this block storage. So basically, block storage is a raw storage. Data is organized as an array of unrelated blocks. So it is a host file system place data on this. So you can actually like categorize this as your in your traditional computer you have the hard disk. So on the cloud we also have like a sort of hard disk in a form of a block storage. The next option is the file storage, or it is an unrelated data blocks managed by a file system server or system. So it's a native file system placed on disk. So this is the like of the like or network storage, Samba, and NFS. Okay, the third option will be the object storage, wherein so we have like it's a stored virtually container. So usually uh this is the likes of Dropbox, OneDrive, or Google Drive. So it's being accessed via API. So there's no you cannot install any software on the object storage because it's being accessed through API. So if you have an application that needs to store an object, so it can be an image, document file. So this is the right place to to use service. Okay, so these are the example of storage services available on AWS. So on the file, we have Amazon EFS, Amazon FSX. On the block category, we have EBS. Then on object, we have S3 and Glacier. So I will discuss in details what are these options. Okay, first, I will start with Amazon Block Storage or EBS. So basically, EBS is a hard disk for your cloud services. So in this diagram, we have the virtual machine. So the virtual machine is the services that AWS use is EC2. So later, Tito Santos will discuss what is this EC2. But overview, it's a virtual machine. So if you're familiar with virtual machine on your on-prem environments, it's almost the same. but this is running on cloud or in AWS. So we have like an Amazon machine image, which is the configuration of your virtual machine. So the likes of OS, the number of CPUs, memories. Then for that Amazon machine image or easy to run, we have storage. So the storage for an Amazon EC2 is actually EBS. So this is like the component of on how EBS is being used in AWS. So we have multiple offerings for AWS Block Storage, not just EBS. We also have EC2 Instance Store, which is a physical hard disk placed on specific machine. For example, if you launch an EC2 instance and it has an EC2 instance store, it's directly attached to that EC2 instance, compared to EBS, which is these are network-based block storage. So what do I mean by EC2 instance storage? So it's local to instance, meaning if your EC2 instance is running on physical server 1, so it has a disk. So that disk becomes the EC2 instance store. So it is a non-persistent data storage and data not replicated, so no snapshot support. It can be in a form of SSD or HDD. So Amazon Instant Store is a temporary, usually it's a temporary storage wherein you can place a file on it, but if you shut down your virtual machine, it might delete the data, because when you stop an EC2 instance, it will copy all the states on AWS. Then when you rerun that EC2 instance, it might be placed on another physical machine compared to the previous where it's placed. So the instance store is not suitable for persistent data. So if you have like a temp file wherein you put some of your processing of data, you can actually use this because it's much faster compared to other type of block storage. So these are the instances with local store. So we have the M5 instance, C5, R5, and Z1. So these are instance family. So later, Tito Santos will discuss regarding this instance families and types. But basically, it's just a template, like a composition of CPU and memory. Depends on your instance type. You can have like a compute optimized, you can have memory optimized, or network optimized instances. Okay, so next will be the EBS block volume. So what is EBS? So basically, it's a block storage as a service. Create attach volume through an API. So you can actually create on the fly an EBS volume and attach it on a running EC2 instance. Then service is accessed over the network. So it's a network-based block storage. So volume can be attached into one instance. So many volume can be attached to an instance. Then we can do separate for boot and data volumes. as of today, the limitation of EC2 EBS volume is up to in terms of size, it's up to 16 terabyte. So but you can create up to, I think, around 19. So that's the maximum EBS volume you can attach into EC2 instance. So that's way huge in terms of capacity. Okay, so next will be the Amazon EBS volume types. So even if it's network-based storage, we have AWS actually has this very low latency. It's almost 5 milliseconds. So and it depends on EBS volume. It can actually increase its performance. Like we have a solid state drive and the typical HDD. So for the SSD option, we have the GP2 or the general purpose SSD. Then we have the IO1 or the provision IOPS per seconds SSD. So it depends on the usage of SSD. Like if you need a higher throughput SSD, we can use the IO1 options, but it will cost you more by doing it. Like if you're allocating just like a 30 gig, but you want to have an IO per seconds of over 10,000, so we can actually use IO1 for that purpose. Then on the HDD, so we have the ST1 or the throughput optimized HDD and the SE1 or the cold HDD. So in terms of price, so HDD is almost 50% cheaper than SSD. But in terms of performance, the SSD is more powerful compared to HDD, where HDD has like a 50 Mbps throughput, where in SSD has virtually like I think the max will be up to 20K throughput per seconds. So here are some of the use cases for EBS volume, like on HDD and SSD. So if you're running a relational database, no SQL, so we can actually use the typical SSD, like the GP2. So like for the relational database, it can be MySQL, SQL Server, Postgre, or SAP, or even Oracle. For NoSQL, we can use like for Cassandra, MongoDB, or CouchDB, or any NoSQL database. So it depends on your actual use case. So we can tweak the functionality or the performance of the SSD to match your need. For the HDD, so we can use it for big data analytics, so or file or media server. These systems do not need like a high throughput, but they need consistent uh, performance. So we can use the HDD options. And it's also much cheaper if you're running data warehouses, because when we do data warehouse, it can be terabytes of data. So you will cost less if you use the HDD options. So these are just some of the functional features of a general purpose SSD. So we have a baseline IO per seconds of 100 to 16,000. IO per seconds, then 3 times IOPS per gig. So it can burst up to 3000 IO. Then the throughput is up to 250 MB per seconds. And we have like a single digit milliseconds latency, even if it's running over the network. So the capacity can be 1 gig to 16 terabyte. So and actually we can provision, like for example, on your early stage of use, you provision 30 gig. Then the following day, the 30 gig is not enough. You can actually add another gig. So it can be 1 gig or more. So it's really flexible enough to handle any use cases. Okay, for the provision IO, or this one is used for mission critical workloads wherein you can have up to 64 IO per seconds and 1000 or 1 terabyte data transfer speed per seconds. So if you have workload that needs higher IO performance, so we can use the IOPS option. Okay, so Amazon volume using throughput provision. So this one is the HDD option. So the SD1, the baseline speed is around 40 MB per second, but it can burst up to 250 with the capacity of the baseline for this will be the initial will be 500 gig and max will be 16 terabytes. So we cannot create like less than 500 gig SD1 volume from the start, but you can add like if for example you create first 500 gig, then the following day or maybe the following hour you can add just like 1 seconds if you one gig if you need more capacity. So this will be ideal for large block storage, like what I mentioned earlier, like data warehousing, or if you're serving like a media library, like videos or file over the internet. So we have also the throughput provisions. So same as the SE1, the starting capacity is around 500 gig up to 16 terabyte, but the baseline will be the 12 MB per second, but it can run up to 192 MB. So with a burst of 80 MB up to 250 MB. Okay, so the next storage type is Amazon File Storage. So these are the services that Amazon offer for file storage options. So we have the in-cloud file systems. So we have Amazon EFX, FSX. For data transfer, we have AWS Data Sync and AWS Transfer for SFTP. Then we have the hybrid storage wherein this storage family, you can install it on your on-premise environment. EFS, so it provides simple, scalable, high availability, durable file storage on the cloud. So it's also a petabyte scale of file system distributed across an unconstrained number of storage server in multiple AZ. So by selecting this AWS storage service, you don't have to manually or explicitly tell AWS for its size because it's elastic it can grow and shrink as you remove files. So this is ideal for like if you have a website running on a distributed environment, you can actually use EFS to host the file for it and attach it into multiple server at a time. Then when a user upload a file on that specific server, it can distribute across all the servers. Then you don't have to worry about the capacity because it can actually grow and shrink depending on your usage. So it's simple, elastic, and highly scalable and highly durable and available. AWS uh, automatically manage the EFS for you. So in terms of backup, availability, and durability. So one, your file or the EFS volume actually being replicated across AWS availability zones. So what is availability zone? Basically, it's a group of data center within a region. Like a region is a geographic location of your data center. For example, when you consider latency on hosting your data on the cloud, so AWS has a region near the Philippines. So based on latency, it will be we can use Singapore or Japan. So a Tokyo region. So AWS EFS automatically replicate your data across availability zone. So one region has a minimum of 2 or more availability zone. So in Singapore region, we have 3 availability zone. So your data is actually being replicated into multiple availability zone in multiple data centers. So if you're building your own network file system, so this is the common architecture. So if you need to have higher availability, high durability, you need to cluster it out into multiple servers, multiple volumes. So this is the do-it-yourself way of deploying file service. But if you're using AWS EFS, so you can only have a single namespace wherein AWS manage the infrastructure for you. So you will just use it and mount it to any server you want. So what is Amazon EFS? FSX. So basically, it's a fully managed third-party file system. So it can be available for Windows or for Lustre. So Lustre is a parallel distributed file system. So it mainly used for like large scale computations, like in pharmacy or in genome. Like for example, if some of us is currently experimenting for uh, for the vaccine of COVID-19. So some of the large pharmacy use Lustre file systems to map some of its genome data. So FSX is a simple and fully managed file system. So it's running on top of Windows file system or over the Samba interface, but it's it's tightly integrated on AWS services. So like if you want it to integrate on EC2 or on the database, so it can it can be integrated with just a click away on the interface. So if you have your existing Windows file server, so Amazon FSx can be an actual drop-in replacement for that. So it's natively compatible with Windows, with broad accessibility, and it's enterprise ready and fully managed by AWS. Same also for Lustre file system. So it's massively scale performance. So it's seamless access to its repositories. Then it's also fully managed and with secure and compliant for anyone that's running Lustre file systems. So the next topic on file storage and transfer services is the data transfer or the AWS data sync. So this is a new service wherein it it's actually a just like a middleware wherein it facilitates the transfer or simplify and automate and accelerate data movement of of some of the AWS services. So if you have a storage on like on an object and you have data on your on-prem, it can actually be automated using AWS Datasync. So the data transfer can be up to 10 gigabyte per agent. So it has a simple access to some of the storage service on AWS like S3 or EFS. So it's secure and reliable and fully integrated with other AWS service. Then it's also a pay-as-you-go model, wherein you only pay for what you use or what you transfer. So next will be the AWS transfer for SFTP. So basically, it's a fully managed service enabling transfer of data over SFTP. So while stored in Amazon S3. So later I will discuss what is this Amazon S3, and uh, basically it's just like your SFTP server, but if you're transferring data to S3, so by default you cannot use any SFTP client. But if you want to use SFTP for transferring data to Amazon S3, so you need to leverage these additional services, which is actually been released this year by AWS. So it has a seamless integration with your existing workloads. It's fully managed by AWS, secure and compliant. So it has native integration with AWS services, and it's also cost effective because you're only paying for the data transfer on for the data transfer that you use. And it's really simple to use. It's fully compatible with your existing SFTP clients. The next category on file storage and transfer service will be the hybrid storage, basically the AWS Storage Gateway family. So the AWS Storage Gateway family is a hybrid solution wherein the storage the storage gateway is running on your on-prem environment. So it can be hosted on a virtual machine or a physical machine. So AWS will give you the image for the storage gateway. Then that storage gateway can be mounted on any NFS using NFS client. So AWS Storage Gateway provides a cloud service enabling on-premise app to seamlessly use AWS storage. So it can optimize your data transfer. So you can have like a network file storage. So drop your file over that storage gateway mount drive, then it will automatically sync all the data to AWS. So it's a fully managed with low latency option depending on the storage gateway implementation. So the storage gateway family has this options. So we have the file, the volume, and the tape. So it depends on your usage. So we can leverage the storage gateway family. So like for example, for the file gateway, so this has a local caching wherein your frequently accessed file can be cached locally. Then for the tape gateway, it's basically a drop-in replacement for your physical tape infrastructure. But and also it has a local caching, so you can access your file. If it's being accessed frequently, it will be accessed locally. But if it's like if it's been on the cloud for a while, you can just search it on the local mount volume, and the data will be pulled by the storage gateway. So the third category for Amazon storage will be the object storage. So Amazon offer the the simple storage service as its object file systems. So what is Amazon S3? So basically Amazon S3 is a object file storage wherein you can put any of your data on the cloud. So on if you're familiar with Dropbox, on its earlier year, oh, its back end is using Amazon S3. So Amazon S3 is a highly available, durable, secure, scalable, and manageable object storage on the cloud, wherein you can actually use it for website hosting, content distribution, file sharing, data analytics, dynamic websites, and enterprise application. Like on our case in Valueline, we have multiple websites that's running on it's static content. So we usually use AWS S3 to host our file, to host our HTML files, CSS, images, and videos. So if you're in the media industry, you can use Amazon S3 to host your videos and stream it over the cloud. So Amazon S3 is designed for higher durability. So it has this 11.9 durability. So unmatched security and compliance capabilities, replication option across regions. So Amazon Storage Gateway can be hosted on a region, then it's replicated into multiple availability zones. So if you have a file upload to S3, it automatically replicate minimum of I think 3 files at a time. So if you upload a file, it it will replicate across AWS regions, and you also have an option to replicate it across regions. Like for example, if you upload your file on the Singapore region, you can have a replication enabled to other region. So like if you want to replicate it like into Europe, US region, you can. It will be done by the AWS Storage Service console. This can also be used for on-demand analytics. So it has a built-in SQL expression support. So like if you place a file or a text file or query any data that can be queried, so it has support for SQL-like statements. So it can be accessed through API and SDKs. So when understanding durability, so these are the like diagram or an analogy for it. So like if you're designing for 99.99, so basically it's just a 2-copy, one each height. And if you want to have a higher durability, so you can have copies on 2 sites. Then for much higher durability, you can have like a intelligent tiering, wherein you can actually upload your file into the standard S3, then replicate it across multiple S3 types. Then you can also place it on into a much durable. We have this Glacier, which is it's also durable and cost-effective options compared to S3. So these are the sorry. So these are the storage classes for the S3. So we have the standard, wherein this is the typical S3 options when you create a bucket. Then AWS introduced this new feature, which is the S3 intelligent tiering, wherein it will place your object into a much lower cost volume S3 option, depending on your on the policy that you created. So we have this S3 standard infrequent access, S3 one zone infrequent access. Then we have this Glacier and the S3 Glacier diff archive. So as you can see, as the tier change, the functionality and the access of frequency also change. And on cost standpoint, it is much cheaper if we use AWS S3 intelligent tiering, because it will actually move your file to some of the lower price storage option of S3 without compromising your performance and the ability to access your files. So this is a new feature for Amazon S3 Glacier. So it's a deep archive solution, so it has low cost storage for the cloud. So this cost around 0.0099 gig per month. So it's less than 1/4 of the current Glacier S3 cost. And actually S3 Glacier is almost 1/3 of the cost of the standard S3. So this is a sample of S3 lifecycle policy, wherein a file can be placed or moved automatically to lower cost storage classes. So like for example, if you upload a file on the standard S3, then that file is not being accessed for example, 30 days. So that file can be moved to S3 infrequent access. Then if you have a policy like for a file that's more than 5 years, for 5 years or more, that's not being accessed, then we can actually create a policy to place it on a cold storage which has the slowest or the lowest cost of any S3 options. So this is the one that I mentioned earlier. So if you have like a 60 days older data, so it can be moved from one storage class to other. So what is that S3 intelligent tiering? So basically, it's automated cost saving for you. So automatically optimize storage cost depending on the pattern that you use your data. So this is the lifecycle management policy. Okay, so that's the end of AWS storage options. So I will go through now to the next topic will be the security on AWS. So security in AWS is actually Job Zero. So what's the meaning of that Job Zero? So basically AWS treats security as its first priority. So all AWS customers benefit from the same data center, network infrastructure, and compliance policy built to satisfy the requirements of even of the most security sensitive organizations. So no exception. So even if you're a startup environment or you're a startup business, you can have the same security as what NASA, the Security and Exchange Commission of the US, the CDC, GE, Pfizer, Shell is using. So all that security benefits or policy that's being used by multinational organization, you can actually use it with just a simple of clicking a button by enabling some of that security functionality. Most of the security in place on AWS is already integrated on the service. Like for example, the EBS volume. EBS volume can actually be encrypted on the fly or even on the creation. So encryption is already built in on that service. So AWS has this broad accreditation and certification. So we have the FISMA, the SOC 1, the FedRAM, or even the Cloud Security Alliance. So if you need certification, or if you have a certification requirement, AWS has the service wherein you can download the compliance certificate and give it to your auditor. So another example of AWS certification, like it's not in this slide. So if you're running an application on the cloud with which has payment gateway solution, so like for example in the new normal, some of us like converting our physical store into online. So by doing that, we also need to enable payment over the internet. So if you're using AWS and with that type of use case and you purchase a or you contracted a payment gateway provider, and it depends on your use case. Like if you want to have like the visitor can actually input their credit card information on your site, there's a higher chance that your payment provider or payment gateway provider will ask you for PCI DSS compliance or the payment card industry compliance certificate. So AWS has this PCI DSS compliance already. So you just need to download it and give it to your payment gateway provider. So that PCI DSS compliance is actually very strict. So like for us in Valueline, we run we run a online store. So we initially before using AWS, we have a PCI DSS compliance. It's a tedious task. So it's just like an ISO compliance, but this PCIDS is more on the protecting your customer credit card informations. So it has this financial implication. It has more strict rules pertaining to security. So it's a painful process. But if you're using AWS and your application is running on the cloud, you just need to download it and give it to your provider. And your security compliance for that payment provider is already fulfilled. So in terms of security, AWS also had this shared responsibility model wherein the security components being split into two aspects. Like AWS has this security for facility, physical infrastructure, compute, storage, network, virtualization, and service endpoints. But customer also need to have in place like the network configuration, security groups, OS firewall, operating system, application, service configuration, and authorization policy. Why is that? Because by default, AWS has like will give you like for example in EC2. When you create an EC2 instance, it's by default it's black, meaning no one can access your EC2 instance unless you allow it via security groups or in the firewall or on the operating system. So this customer part, usually when there's some like security attacks, it can be triggered by some of the misconfiguration done by the customer. So on as one of AWS partner, like some of our customers like they they opt to us like they contracted us to have their AWS infra managed by us. So this one is being done also by Valueline. But if the customer decided, okay, I'm the one who will manage the AWS, so these are the task that customer need to focus in when in terms of AWS infra. So AWS is basically responsible for the security of the cloud, and customer is responsible for the security in the cloud. So basically, AWS is the one managing all the infra related, but customer is responsible for securing the data in the AWS servers, like for example, on the virtual machine or on the EC2. So the data that you put in that EC2 instance or machine, so the customer is the one responsible for it. So you need to install patches for the OS, you need to install antivirus, you need to configure your application properly to allow only specific ports or services. You can uh, enable the encryption options and more. So basically, a customer is responsible for any data that you place on or inside the AWS service. Okay, this AWS responsibility for physical security of data center is, I think this is more common. So by default, Amazon has been building DC for many years. So if you're familiar with, I think most of us is familiar with Amazon as a bookstore or as a online store. So early years of AWS, so it's running its own data center. So for that Amazon's online store, but uh, when they see the market growing and their data center is being optimized to have the functionality that anyone can use. So that's why they start selling AWS as a managed cloud services. So it has this uh, policy. So it's almost common for any data center to have like a uh, controlled based access. Even AWS employee cannot go directly to data center. So even as we don't know where is the location of an AWS data center. So here are the some notable features like our attributes like nondescript facility. So AWS will just tell you that your data is running on Singapore region, but they will not tell you where exactly on Singapore is the data center is located. So why is that? Because like if I am I am a an organization, so and I'm a notable AWS user. So I'm hosting my servers on AWS in Singapore region and in this specific facility. So if AWS disclose that facility, it can be prone to physical attacks. So that's one of the reason why AWS do not disclose some of its facility. So it has robust perimeter control, a strict controlled physical access. So even even AWS is a engineers, if they want to have an access on that specific data centers, they need to have like a security clearance before doing so. So for the continuous availability, so they have this 24 by 7 monitoring. So by default, all availability zone are redundant. So wherein if there's a downtime for a specific availability zone, some of the traffic will be routed to another availability zone. So services are built in to be fault tolerant and highly available. So SLAs are between 99.9 up to 100%, depending on the services. There is a service on AWS that has 100% SLAs. So it's a DNS server or service which is called AWS Route 53. Basically, it's the backbone of any web-facing application. So it's the heart, or it's the directory for the internet. So if AWS Route 53 has this downtime, maybe some of the famous sites that are being hosted on AWS will also go offline. So that's why they created 100% SLA for Route 53. So how they achieve that 100% SLA? So when your domain is hosted on Amazon Route 53, it will automatically replicate up to 20 region. So like even if your site is hosted on Singapore, it will replicate automatically to Europe, America, and even in Australia, and all AWS regions. And each AWS region has multiple data centers, so it will be replicated across all of AWS infrastructure. So each AZ has redundant tier 1 ISP with power, substation, and etc. Also, AWS has its own backend, so they are a tier 1 ISP provider also. So if your application is on Singapore, so they have like multiple partnered telcos that can actually bridge you, like if you're needing a dedicated pipe to AWS data center, so they have these options. So configuration management, so okay. So configuration management, so updates are done in a manner wherein that will not impact the customer. So basically all changes are being authorized and logged, tested and approved before releasing. Network security. So IP spoofing is prohibited at the host level. So basically some of the functionality that a physical machine can do or is being monitored by AWS or being filtered by AWS for the reason that it need also to protect some of its customer that's residing within the same data center or within the same physical machine. So storage management, so they have this option for permanent data decommissioning, even the wiping of data. So they have this they have this military grade process for decommissioning. So that's the end of my slides. I think I'll give back the presentation to Crystal.
All right, thank you, Sir Titan. I think we have few questions here. Later, we will address all of these after the speaker's presentation. So, first, we will start again with Sir Tito to continue his presentation for introduction to AWS and EC2. Sir Tito, is your audio already okay?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, Sir Tito. Yes, Sir Tito.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Sir Tito. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start my presentation now. So I should be the one first before Titan, but I'm having some internet connection problem, so I will be starting last. So I'll be giving introduction to AWS. So what is AWS? So AWS is a highly reliable, scalable, low-cost infrastructure platform that serves hundreds and thousands of businesses in 190 countries worldwide. And the benefits are low cost because we are on a pay-as-you-go or pay-as-you-use pricing. Elasticity and agility, we can scale up and scale down at the same if you want to. Open and flexible, secure, and global reach. I will show that to you later. So why AWS? So based on experience, AWS has been pioneering cloud since 2006, and service breadth and depth, 160 plus services to support any cloud workload. And piece of innovation is history of rapid customer-driven releases. Global footprint, 20 regions, 61 availability zones, 150 edge locations in 190 countries. So pricing and philosophy, it has reduced its price proactively for the 69th time. And ecosystem, since it has been a pioneering cloud since 2006, it has built this network of consultants, integrators, and tech partners like us. So this is based from Gartner. This is the Magic Quadrant, and this was taken last July 2019. So as we can see here, Amazon is in the leader quadrant and is first. Second is Microsoft and Google. So Amazon Web Services leads with 35% of total market share in 2018, and this is bigger than the next 4 biggest cloud providers accounted together. So AWS is customer obsessed. Okay, 90% of the roadmap originates with customer requests and are designed to meet the specific needs. Okay. Millions of active customers. Pace of innovation. So from 2006, they have 28 services. Now they have a lot. So it increases. So this is virtuous cycle. So better capacity, scale, better capacity, higher reliability, and lower cost. So this is the AWS expansion region now. And this is the global compute platform for everywhere. So as we can see here, we have global availability, 20 regions, 61 availability zones. And here we can see the Amazon global network, how they are interconnected with each other. And the broadest and deepest cloud platform for today's builders. So if you want to migrate, we can use the migration. If you want to develop if you want to use machine learning for your development, we have machine learning here. If you want to do some analytics on your data, we have analytics here. And what is the anatomy of AWS region? Okay. AWS region has availability zones. Okay. It is a fully isolated infrastructure with 1 or more data centers per availability zone. Okay. And we have, and they are interconnected with metro fiber. And availability zones are interconnected also with other availability zones. Okay. Redundant transit centers. And these are the AWS regions and availability zones. Currently, here in the Philippines, we are using the Singapore region. Okay. But if you have clients in other region, you can use the other region. For example, if you have clients in Sydney, you can deploy your cloud workload in Sydney. So it will be nearest to your clients or prospect clients. So it will have a low latency. So infrastructure from regions to Amazon EC2 instance. So from AWS Cloud, build once, run globally because we have a global reach. Disaster recovery, if you want disaster recovery, we do it by region. If you want availability, we deploy our instances for availability zone. And for our performance, we have EC2 instance, physical servers, and our AWS data centers. So I'll continue with the Amazon Elastic Compute. So what is Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud? This is a virtual servers or compute instance on AWS Cloud. So old hardware paradigm, why doesn't it work? Because of this. Primarily, most of it is expensive distribution network, and complexity equals cost. So here are some easy-to terminology. Blueprint for Amazon Machine Image for AMI. Compute is for instance. What composes of compute? CPU and RAM. So an EC2 instance have CPU and RAM, while storage is separate, which has been discussed by Titan EBS volume. And here are our, okay. So we have regions, VPC, availability zones, and EC2 instance. So EC2 instance are deployed via VPC. So rapid pace of innovation. Currently, as of 2018, we have 175 types of instances. And this is how we characterize EC2 instances based on CPU, memory, storage, and network performance. Okay. So here's an example of an instance type: MD, M5D large, extra large. So M stands for instance family. So we have the M family. And the 5 stands for each generation. So with this, it's a 5th generation. And D is additional capabilities. Okay. And extra large is the instance size. So all this together is the instance type. So instance type will base on the on your specifications that you require. Okay. So we have a broad set of compute instance types. So for general purpose, we have general purpose instance. If you want a compute optimized instance, we also have that one. Storage and IO optimized instance. GPU or FPGA enabled, or memory optimized instance. So here are the different types of instance. Okay. If you want memory optimized, we have R5 and R5M. Okay. If you need graphic intensive, we have G3. Or if you need compute intensive, we have C5. Okay. So all the workloads that you will be needing, there's an instance type that can meet it. Okay. So here, broadest and deepest platform choice. You choose by categories, capabilities, and options for storage. Like for storage, okay. So, what are the purchase options of Amazon EC2? We have on demand. We have on demand. There's no long-term commitment, and this is primarily used for spiky workloads to define needs. Okay. So, for example, if you will be running a cloud workload for 1 month, you can use this one. Okay. And if your workload is, if you're not yet sure how big is the workload, we can use also on demand. For example, we start small, and if we see that the cloud workload needs more power or more CPU, we can increase it. Okay, because we have no long-term commitments. Next is we have reserved instances, which we will make a commitment for 1 or 3 year commitment. And this is a significant discount, okay, because we are committing for this instance. So this is used for steady stage usage. So if we already know the workload, we can use this. Okay. And this is primarily we can use this for our production also. We also have spot instances, or this is our Amazon Spirit EC2, Spirit EC2. Okay. These are more cheaper, 90% cheaper. Okay. And we use this for non-critical workloads that can be terminated at any given time. Or if you will be running a workload from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., 4 hours a day, we can use the spot instances to do that for us. And we can also optimize EC2 by combining all these purchases options. Okay. Amazon EC2 reserve instances. So there's a discount, payment flexibility, all upfront, partial or none. We can also be convertible reserve instances. And we have spot instances. Okay. This is where you bid for you to use it. Okay. So there. So this is a customer life. So by using AWS spot instances, we've been able to save up to 75% a month simply by changing our lines of code, 4 lines of code. It makes perfect sense for saving money when you're running continuous integration workloads or pipeline processing. Okay. So Life uses spot instances in his business. Okay. So to optimize Amazon EC2 to combine purchases options, we can do that. It depends on how you plan it. So now we have a new one that we can hibernate for spot and on-demand instance. Okay. Next is security groups. Okay. We allow network traffic in and out of the EC2 instance. Okay. So here's an example. No? If we want our Bastion server to connect to our web server, we will allow some ports for it to connect. And we will also, if for our web server to connect to our database, we will be allowing also some ports. So we use that. So we use security group to manage those ports. It's like a firewall. Okay. EC2 credential keys. We have a private key and we have a public key. So a private key is given to us for safekeeping, and the public key is stored in the EC2 key management. So credential keys. So we use the private key to log into the EC2 instance using this command for Linux, ssh-i private key.pem, and the EC2 where we'll be connecting. And for Windows-based, for RDP, there's an encrypted password that will be given to us. And for us to know the instance information, we can run this http://169.254.169.254/latest/metadata, and we will all have this information. So after that, we will be talking about Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. So Amazon EC2 resources. So we'll be using VPC. So Virtual Private Cloud provision a logical isolated cloud where you can launch AWS resources into a virtual network. There. So we will be using this. to AWS region, VPC, API CDR, expand. So as you can see, inside the VPC, there are availability zones, having a public subnet and a private subnet. This is an example of a VPC containing the AWS services. Okay. So in the public subnet, we have instance A. Both availability zones are residing in one VPC. Okay, we have instance B on the public subnet on availability zone 2. Private, we have a instance type C on a private subnet on availability zone 1, and instance D on a private subnet on availability zone 2. Internet gateway, having an elastic IP or a public IP of this. So in order for instance A to connect to AWS services, it will go through into the internet gateway. It will also use the internet gateway to have access to the internet. In here, we have a NAT, and it's connected to the internet gateway also. So we use NAT gateway for our instance C or on a private subnet to have internet connection And we use virtual private endpoints if we want access to AWS services that the traffic will not leave the AWS network. So it goes direct here. It doesn't require to pass to IGW or internet gateway. We can use VPC endpoints to access the AWS services. For us to connect our on-premise data centers or on-premise network, we will be using virtual gateway. So here in the example, we will be doing a site-to-site VPN. So we will be connecting your on-premise to AWS using VPN. Or we can also do a direct connect. So we'll be connecting your on-premise to AWS via direct connect. Okay. We can also do some VPC peering. So if we want to pair this VPC to another VPC, we can do that in the same region or in other region. Okay. There are also some VPC pro logs, so we can monitor which is being forwarded to Amazon CloudWatch for monitoring. We also use AWS Private Link to connect our on-prem to share services for on-prem and VPC, okay, to share AWS services. Okay. For network security, all network traffic goes through at least 3 firewalls. Okay. We have AWS managed firewall, we have knuckles and security groups. By the way, knuckles and security groups are managed by the end user. Network security group, network access control list is stateless. Security groups are stateful. Stateless is, for example, if we allow port 80 inbound, if we need to allow port 80 outbound, we will also configure that. So there will be 2 configurations, inbound and outbound. While a security group stateful, if we allow port 80 inbound, it will automatically allow port 80 outbound. Okay. Knuckles operates on a subnet level, while security groups operates in an instance level. Okay. Security group is using whitelist approach to allow traffic, okay, by port, and knuckles is using allow and deny rules. Okay. For example, if we want to block a specific IP address going to our VPC, we will be using knuckles to do that. We cannot use security groups because security groups cannot block a specific IP. Okay, I think that ends my presentation. If you have any questions regarding EC2 VPC, with that, I'll turn you over to Krista.
All right, thank you, Sir Tito, for sharing to us an introduction to AWS, EC2, and also VPN. Okay, we'll now proceed with our last speaker, Ms. Athena, to discuss about the adoption to new normal using cloud technology. For any questions, please feel free to ask it via the question box on the right side of your screen. After Ms. Athena's presentation, we'll proceed with the question and answer portion. All right, I'll pass now the floor to Ms. Athena. Ms. Athena.
Okay, thank you, Miss Crystal. So can you see my screen?
Yes, Ms. Athena, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to discuss. So first of all, I'd like to give a quick introduction about myself. So I'm Athena Riza Balanay, team lead for Cube Solutions Management. So I hope everyone's still active listening, because today I'm going to discuss about what are those solutions that can help us to adapt to what we call new normal. Okay, so before we proceed, I'd like to give an introduction about our company. So our mother company is Valueline. So it started way back 2000 as an IBM business partner. And with emerging shift of technology, we became one of the pioneer user of Amazon Cloud and is now advanced consulting partner of AWS here in the Philippines. So under Valueline, we have 3 spin-off companies. So these are the spin-off companies under Valueline. So we have VBusiness Software and Solutions Inc. that focuses on Amazon Web Services or cloud services as a standard technology partner way back 2013. And we've also developed our homegrown applications running on AWS such as ExaCRM, YesPo Chatbot. And we have been also awarded as one of the advanced technology partner of Amazon in the Philippines, and we are also recognized as their professional service provider here in our country. And later we became an advanced consulting partner by year 2019. So next is we have here the Lab Solutions Inc., which focuses on business innovations and implementations of services on AWS and has an expertise on website and application development using cloud platform or AWS cloud platform. And Lab Solutions Inc. is consists of certified solutions architect, DevOps engineer, developers and programmers, project managers, and QA team. Okay, so next is we have the B1G2 Technologies International Inc. So B1G2 Technologies Technologies Inc. is focused on security, and they are the exclusive distributor of ESEP here in the Philippines. Okay, so Valueline is also an ISO certified. So ISO 49001, which means the quality management systems, and ISO 27001, which is the information security management. Okay, so next is who is VBusiness. So like what I've said, so VBusiness is a new spin-off company. We've started as a department that focus on Amazon Web Services, and a standard technology partner way back 2013. And then later we became the advanced consulting partner and also the public sector partner and immersion day partner of AWS. Okay, so let's talk about what are those new normal for business and consumer. So these are the new normals for business and consumer. So shoppers will shift from online buying rather than buy goods from the malls. So this is very common scenario during this pandemic. So there I saw a lot of groups that offers a pabili service and pasabay service, wherein they will do the shopping or they will buy goods for you and deliver it on your doorstep instead of you going out. Next is people will use online banking transactions and cashless payments rather than going to banks. So this is some of us are using the online banking transaction and cashless payments, or few of us are using it before. But right now, this is a very common scenario for during this pandemic because we all want to minimize any contact from any specific persons. Next is students will be open for flexible learning scheme through digital classes. So recently, President Rodrigo Duterte announced that there will be no classes unless there will be a vaccine for everyone. So there will be online learning scheme wherein there will be a e-learning schools that offers to those parents for their children or students to be able to enroll their children through online classes. Okay, so next is communications will all go online. So as much as possible we want to minimize face-to-face interaction with that specific person. So we want to do the online communications with our with the businesses or even personal matters. Next is employees will continue working at home rather than going at office. So like what we're doing right now. So most of us, some of us are already returned to their workplace, but most of us or majority of us are still doing the work from home setup. So with this, this helps this will be our new normal for us to be able to still continue to support the essential companies and to still continue our operations and minimize disruptions. Okay, so aside from this, what are those other form of threats that we need to be prepared aside from the COVID-19 that would think us to improve our current BCP or current business continuity plan. So I hope this COVID-19 give us a lesson learned for us to be able to enhance our business continuity plan, and then for us to be able to still continue working at home on a secured environment. Okay, so these are other form of threats aside from the COVID-19. So we have the flooding, the natural disasters and severe weather, data loss plus cyber attacks, network and internet disruptions, terrorist attacks, office vandalism, distraction, workforce stoppages such as the transportation blockages, strikes, and protests, and many more. So these are the other form of threats that aside from the COVID-19 that we need to be prepared of. So what are those solutions that we can have for us to continue our operations even during work from home or even during work from home setup? So we have here the Amazon Workspaces. So Amazon Workspaces is a fully managed desktop computing service in the cloud that allows its customers to provide cloud-based desktops to their end users. So Amazon Workspaces help the end users or can access the end users can access the documents, applications and resources using devices of their choice, such as laptops, iPad, Kindle Fire, or Android tablets. So even you're at home, you can access those applications with Amazon Workspaces. So in comparison to virtual, or in comparison to on-premise VDI, so Amazon Workspaces helps you to eliminate the complexity in managing inventory, OS versions and patches, and virtual desktop infrastructure, because these are all managed by AWS. Okay, so what are the benefits of Amazon Workspaces? So in terms of coverage, Amazon Workspaces is available on 13 AWS region, including China. So next is speed. So we can provision an Amazon Workspaces in just a minute, and we can terminate it anytime. Next, scalability. So to support your BCP user requirements, you can scale up or down dynamically, and you only, while paying for only what you need or what you use. Next is service level agreement. So minimum of 99.9 monthly uptime commitment. Next is save on capital expenditure with a convenient pay-as-you-go OPEX model, or operating expense model. Next is security and compliance. So there are no data on the end user local devices is saved, though you're still accessing the workspaces through your through devices, but there will be no data, because the data will be within the Amazon Workspaces. And there are a lot of features of Amazon Workspaces, so to maintain the security. So the company doesn't need to worry what if these documents can steal this employee. So the company doesn't need to worry about it, because with Amazon Workspaces, you can still continue to work at home in a secured manner. Okay, so next is aside from this, we have other remote work learning solutions. So we have here the Appstream 2.0. So access applications at home. So Amazon Appstream 2.0 is a fully managed application streaming service. So you centrally manage your desktop applications on Appstream 2.0 and securely deliver them to any computer. So what's the difference of Appstream to Amazon Workspaces? It thinks that they are almost the same, but Amazon Appstream 2.0 is focused on hosting individual applications on AWS, while Amazon Workspaces creates virtual desktops that can be used to create entire working environments for you and for your team. Okay, so next is Amazon Workdocs. So simplified content collaboration. With Amazon Workdocs, you can easily create, edit, and share content, and because it's stored centrally on AWS, access it from anywhere on any device. So you don't need to worry like I want to edit that specific document, and then do I need to still download it and then edit it and then upload it again on a specific solution of AWS? No, with Amazon Workspaces, you can edit real-time your documents on AWS, and you can share it. You can share the content with your team. Okay. So next is Amazon Chime, working together simplified. So Amazon Chime lets you meet, chat, and place business phone calls with a single secure application. With Chime, you have the flexibility to choose the communication option that fits your business needs. So Amazon Chime help you to collaborate with your team through conference meeting or conference call. Amazon Chime has feature of screen share also, a video call, and a chat. And then Amazon Chime is very easy to use because you don't need to download any application for you to be able to join a meeting, or for you to be able to start a meeting. You just need to have a browser, and then that's it. you can use Amazon Chime. So that is about Amazon Chime. That is why it is more simplified. Okay. Next is YesPo chatbot. So 24/7 real-time response. So you don't need to worry about limited responses. With YesPo HI chatbot, you can set your own answers for certain questions and create DIY personalized convos with YesPro. You can answer 24/7 real-time inquiries. So like what I've said, the new normal now is more on online transactions, online selling. So um, most of us or some of us has online business, so there are a lot of inquiries right now because this is the new normal. So how can Yespo chatbot help us to answer that queries or a lot of queries? So with AI chatbot you can set your own or common questions for common questions, and it will let you, or Amazon or Yespo chatbot will let answer those inquiries. Okay, so I think that's end my presentation, and thank you for listen. Thank you for listening. So you can, for more solutions offering, so you can check our website and Facebook page by scanning this QR code in front of your screen. Okay, so I'll give the floor to Miss Crystal.
Okay, thank you, Athena, for sharing to us the solutions overview of Valueline and how businesses can adapt to new normal with cloud technology. All right, this is our time for the question and answer portion. So we have some questions here from for our speakers for our earlier session with Sir Christian and also with Sir Tito. So we will read some questions here. And if you have more questions, please feel free to chat it out on the question box that you can see on the right side of your screen so we can answer it on our question and answer portion now. So we have a question here from Mr. Manix Ramos. You mentioned that AWS has a lot of industry security compliance like PCI DSS and the likes, at least on the infrastructure side. However, for example, I will be developing an app that collects P2 and process customer data and perform transactions on it. Does my app need to be PCI DSS certified as well? So can we answer this, Sir Titan?
Okay, so hello. So for that, if you have a data that's collecting PII data, so by default, if it's hosted on AWS, so you don't need to have like a certain PCI DSS compliance because it's already covered by by AWS. But for that PII data to be fully what do you call this fully secured, you need to have like you need to set in place the functionality, the security protocols that need to be addressed on the customer side. So meaning your application, so by default your application must have like at least undergone VA scanning, so like VAPT or any pen test. Then another thing will be WAF, Web Application Firewall. So it's a PII data. So it's advisable also to have like additional security layers placed on it. Then it depends on like on your provider that's requiring you PCI DSS. So some of them requires also that in the application level there is some PCI DSS level compliance. But if there's they just what they call this, they just give you like infra level, AWS will be enough. But it will depends on your business needs, and depends on your security auditor. But to be sure, you need to set up your application also in such a way that it's compliance with PCI DSS. So that's the most common or logical way on dealing PII data or PCI DSS related applications.
Okay, thank you, Sir Titan. We have another follow-up question from Mr. Manix Ramos. But how does this multi-region redundancies will affect the overall cost of each AWS services? So this is already answered by Sir Tito. Can we share also for others?
Okay, so I will answer that question. Yes. So earlier on the session with Tito, so he mentioned that if you want to have like a replication of your data, it will actually you need to manually select or explicitly say to AWS, okay, I want a copy of this data. So it basically entails additional cost. So for that specific service, like for example, if your application or virtual machine running on Singapore region and you want it to replicate into like for example Tokyo, so it will create additional EC2 instance on the Tokyo region. So you will be paying you will also paying for that EC2 instance.
Okay, so we have another question from Mr. Timothy James Abanez. For EC2, is it possible that we have on-premise? We will do hybrid to AWS, so it's about a hybrid. Can we answer this, Sir Titan?
Okay, for the EC2 option, so currently it's not in the slide, but I think AWS will roll out a what they call this it's a physical machine. So I forget the right term for that AWS services, but you can. So it's actually a server wherein you can order to AWS to run your compute instances on-prem. So meaning your EC2 instance will be on your premise, on your data center running. But it's actually the cost is not yet fully disclosed. It depends on the number of CPU and memory that you need. But typically, if you want to run application running on AWS, so EC2 on the cloud is the more efficient way to use it, but it depends on your applications or your workloads. We can maybe recheck what will be the architecture, and we can actually provide more options if we have like a details of it.
Okay, so another follow-up question. I think it's for the multi-cloud setup. Can we do it with the competitors like Azure or Google?
Yep. So by default, we have multiple customers that's using multi-cloud or embracing multi-cloud strategy. So I have this customer wherein they have AWS as their main cloud wherein all their workload is in there, but they need to connect on their Azure site, which is hosting their Active Directories and Office 365, and they also have this GCP, Google Cloud, wherein hosting some of their websites. So we can technically we can interconnect. Even in AWS also support Azure AD. So in AWS there has this connector wherein you can connect AD. But in general deployment, we just need to have like a VPN over the internet for Azure or for GCP, and we can basically transfer all your data across any cloud provider.
Okay, so I think we have one last question. So maybe Athena also can answer. So what is the difference of workspace and EC2? Do I have to create license for the EC2 instance? So I think it's for the licensing also. Miss Athena or Sir Titan? Yes. Okay.
Okay, I will just answer for the EC2 and workspace. basically you need a separate license for them. So EC2 is it's a server running on cloud, so it can be a form of Linux or Windows. So you need just to RDP it, RDP or SSH to be able to access. While Workspace is technically a VDI solution, it can actually run your application on the cloud, but it's more on virtual desktop. Like in terms of usage, think it as a client connecting to a server. So you need a separate license for Workspace, even if you're using EC2.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Titan, for answering the questions. I think that's the last. If you have more questions, please feel free also to message us on Facebook or send a separate email. We will be glad to have a session with you to discuss further on your specific requirements. Okay, for our last speaker, I would like also to call and acknowledge our President for VBusiness, Mr. Edison, to give us his closing remarks. Sir Ed, hello.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Titan, Tito, and Athena. So to our attendees, thank you so much for attending. So I'd like to just summary the solutions that we are mentioning is before this pandemic happened. So the major decision our company did is, of course, not simple. But with the help of AWS infrastructure, so the management decision is very specific, precise, and direct to the point that we immediately act on the situation to do a work from home. So immediately we decided. So AWS infrastructure on cloud help us a lot because all our processes, our backend, our infrastructure, our applications are already secure and running on AWS. That's why our team can work from home is like working in the office. So it helped us a lot because we prepared our data center already on AWS. So also the cost of savings that we have and the efficiency. So the resiliency of the team also. Right now, the preparation every company does, all the IT, how we can act and help the company, help the businesses resume with our experience. Some company are being paralyzed. Some company they do some work around. Some company already moved to online. But of course, our team, our goal is how we can help the businesses experience our experience too. And of course, the issue is the budget. A lot of businesses challenge is their operational budget are being paralyzed also. So with the team, we can extend our support with you. So let us know how we can help you. We did some, we extend our help to our existing customers and some prospect customers. So we help them in our own little way. So we provide them some pre-credits. We provide them some environment to test with. We help them in their proof of concept. In some customer, we provide some pre-subscription. So let us know. So we can also extend our help to you, especially in some three major aspects that they are looking at. How we can now put my data center online, how we can put my backup and disaster program online, how we can start with our priority application put online. So when this time comes, you can immediately act and immediately provide some online access to your co-employees, to the management, even to the customers. So the good thing with this is our own internal processes. We do it online, our own support force supporting our client. So we made it all available online. And how we can help our businesses, our owners, our executive to also decide. So this our what they call this recommendation will be based on what is happening right now. A lot of digital transformation plans were being replaced by this new norm because there's a lot of requirements, especially on social distancing. Example, for the retail, you're delivering goods and items, so how you can provide a compliance on social distancing without signing or documents, without any touching on the documents. So how we can help our business. So right now, this is a planning and execution stage. So let us know so we can also help you. Our team are ready for consulting or asking some suggestions that you want us to do, and even up to the proof of concept you want to explore on cloud. So let us know. We're not promising, but we will make sure that we can give you the best solution we can offer. So I hope with our session today, you learn some insights, and feel free to give us feedback so we can also help you. So please give us feedback and let us know so we can reach out to you with our own little way we can help you. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much, team, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Sir Edison, for giving us the closing remarks, and also for all of you who attended and for staying with us up to this time. Thank you so much. We will be having 2 upcoming webinars for the month of June for those who are in transport and logistics industry, and also a webinar for the education sector. This will be a focus industry brown bag session, enable for us to help specific industries and share with them use case and solutions that they can utilize, especially with the new normal scenario that we are facing. So our immersion day ends today. Actually, on our other immersion days, we usually held this for the whole day, but we just compacted it for 2 hours. So thank you so much. And for our early birds, we have we're giving away 100 pesos Grab food voucher token. So please stay tuned. We will send it to you via email. And please answer our survey question that will pop up on the screen once you leave the webinar. On behalf of Valueline, thank you so much for attending. Stay safe and healthy, and God bless everyone. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.